Come on, let's go. The Great Escape wasn't just a war movie, it was a cinematic rebellion disguised as entertainment. Behind those cool POW uniforms and stirring music lay chaos on set Frostbite in Bavaria, broken egos, and dangerous stunts that nearly turned fatal. What audiences saw as triumphant heroism was born from exhaustion and defiance. Get ready for 20 weird facts about The Great Escape. Hit that subscribe button now, and let's begin. Fact number 20. What audiences didn't know was that the cast spent most of the shoot freezing. Filming took place in Bavaria during one of the coldest winters of the decade. Actors wore thin POW costumes made of light cotton while the temperature dropped below zero. The frostbitten crew built fake snow from salt just to match continuity between shots. Steve McQueen's lips cracked so badly he needed constant touch-ups. Yet the production refused to pause. The result was authentic suffering on screen. Every breath you see in those camp scenes was real. The Great Escape looks effortless, but it was filmed in the bitter chill of physical misery. Fact number 19. Steve McQueen didn't want to share the spotlight. His cool rebel image was threatened by the ensemble format. Early dailies showed Richard Attenborough and James Garner stealing scenes. McQueen walked off the set in protest. The crew thought the film was doomed. After weeks of tension, director John Sturges promised McQueen a new motorbike sequence to restore his hero status. That single deal brought him back. His silent motorcycle escape became the defining image of the film. Not teamwork but ego fueled that moment. Ironically, the scene that symbolized freedom came from pure stubbornness. Fact number 18. The film's motorcycle chase wasn't written in the original script. McQueen wanted to do something dangerous, something only he could pull off. The Triumph bike was modified to look like a German military model. McQueen performed nearly all the stunts himself except for one impossible leap. His friend Bud Ekins secretly filled in for that 65-foot barbed wire jump. Even today, many fans believe McQueen did it all. It wasn't his body over the fence, but it was his idea that made it iconic. The risk was so real that Ekins almost didn't walk away from the landing. Fact number 17. Not all actors were actors. Many extras were real Allied soldiers stationed in Germany. The production borrowed them from local bases to fill out the camp scenes. They brought raw authenticity, but also friction. Some couldn't stop saluting real officers on set, causing endless retakes. Others shared real war stories that left the cast shaken. During downtime, they drank and reenacted old escape drills. The line between performance and memory blurred. For the veterans, this wasn't just acting. It was reliving the nightmare with cameras rolling. Fact number 16. The Great Escape's tunnel sets nearly collapsed. Built on sound stages with real sand, dirt, and wooden beams, the tunnels were claustrophobic and unstable. Cameramen had to lie flat and shoot through small holes with handheld rigs. Every day, pieces of the ceiling fell. One lighting technician was buried waist deep before being pulled out by the cast. The authenticity was so convincing that even the actors developed mild claustrophobia. Those sequences where characters whisper in the dark were filmed in total silence. What looks like calm courage was actually terror held between heartbeats. Fact number 15. The film's location was built from scratch. The German POW camp seen in the movie didn't exist before production. It rose in a Bavarian field surrounded by forests. Art director Fernando Carrere studied blueprints of real Stalag Luft camps to replicate every hut and tunnel with eerie precision. The crew even fenced the entire area with authentic barbed wire and manned guard towers. Local villagers thought it was a real prison and avoided the set completely. During shooting, guards in uniform patrolled between takes to maintain realism. Actors said walking onto the set felt like time travel to captivity. The camp was so authentic that German extras playing guards reported emotional discomfort. The Great Escape didn't recreate war, it resurrected it. Fact number 14. James Garner became the unspoken fixer of the entire production. He used his charm to calm disputes between McQueen and the director. Garner's real-life Air Force experience helped him connect with the film's military tone. On set, he was known as the Scrounger, just like his character, trading cigarettes for props and even securing motorcycles for McQueen's stunt. One day, he convinced local farmers to loan their hay bales to cushion stunt landings. Without Garner, the production would have collapsed under constant tension. His diplomacy kept everyone working when tempers flared. The Great Escape may be remembered for its rebellion, but it survived because one man acted like a true officer behind the camera. Fact number 13. Richard Attenborough suffered deeply during filming. Playing Squadron Leader Bartlett wasn't just acting for him, it was reliving fear. Attenborough's brother-in-law had been a real pilot shot down during the war. Scenes depicting interrogation and confinement hit too close to home. He had nightmares throughout the shoot. Crew members recalled him sitting alone after takes, staring into the snow in silence. That intensity gave his performance its haunting weight. Every moment of quiet resolve you see on screen came from a man haunted by family loss. The Great Escape's realism wasn't manufactured. It was emotional truth pulled from wounds that never healed. Fact number 12. Charles Bronson's character was terrified of tunnels, but so was Bronson himself. The actor grew up in a Pennsylvania mining town where he once survived a cave collapse as a boy. When filming the narrow underground scenes, his old trauma returned. He sweated uncontrollably and sometimes froze between takes. The director nearly replaced him until Bronson confessed his fear. Instead of hiding it, they built it into his performance. His character, Danny the Tunnel King, breaks down from claustrophobia, a moment drawn from Bronson's own panic. It wasn't method acting, it was lived experience. That's why the fear feels real. The actor was fighting memories buried under decades of silence. Fact number 11. The film's score almost didn't happen. Composer Elmer Bernstein struggled to find the right tone. The producers wanted military solemnity, but director John Sturges wanted defiant optimism. Bernstein split the difference, creating that famous march that sounds heroic yet mischievous. The tune became an anthem across Europe, where audiences whistled it in defiance of post-war gloom. In Britain, it was even adopted by football crowds as a victory chant. The score turned rebellion into melody. Without it, The Great Escape might have felt tragic. Instead, it sounded unstoppable, just like the spirit of those men. Now, before we dive into the top 10 secrets, go ahead and like and subscribe, because what's coming next will make you see this movie in a whole new light. Fact number 10. Filming the final chase nearly killed the crew. The motorbike scenes across the Bavarian hills were done without digital effects or safety rigs. The slopes were slick from rain and filled with hidden rocks. When Bud Ekins made the legendary fence jump, the Triumph nearly flipped backward on landing. The impact bent the front wheel and threw him forward. He barely missed breaking his neck. Crew members screamed, thinking he was dead. But Ekins stood up covered in mud and finished the take. That jump became one of cinema's most famous stunts. What audiences never saw was the ambulance waiting just out of frame. The Great Escape didn't use CGI, it used courage and sheer madness. Fact number 9. McQueen secretly played more than one role in the film. During the motorcycle chase, he wasn't just Hiltz the Cooler King. He also disguised himself as one of the German soldiers pursuing his own character. Dressed in a Nazi uniform and goggles, McQueen literally chased himself across the hills. Director John Sturges allowed it because McQueen insisted on riding in every key shot. Eagle-eyed viewers can spot it, the same posture, the same speed. It's a bizarre cinematic trick only possible because of McQueen's skill and ego. So when you watch that scene again, remember you're watching Steve McQueen versus Steve McQueen, the ultimate battle of cool. Fact number 8. The film almost faced censorship in Germany. Authorities worried that portraying German guards as brutal and incompetent could reignite political tension. United Artists pushed for local approval by hosting a private screening in Munich. The audience included former Luftwaffe officers who surprisingly loved it. They admired the attention to detail and the respect shown toward real POWs. Their support saved the German release. Ironically, the movie that once risked being banned later became a favorite on German television. What was once political became historical. The Great Escape didn't divide nations. It reminded them how far they had come. Fact number 7. Actor Donald Pleasence brought grim authenticity to his role as the forger. He had lived through real bombings during World War II and was himself a POW after his RAF plane went down. When he offered advice about realism on set, Sturgis listened carefully. Pleasence even taught other actors how to behave like prisoners during roll call. But here's the twist. He played his scenes blind. His character's eyesight fails slowly through the film, and Pleasence actually removed his corrective lenses to simulate partial blindness. He performed nearly half his scenes in near total blur. What the audience sees as vulnerability was real confusion. He risked physical discomfort to capture truth. Fact number 6. The tunnels known as Tom, Dick, and Harry were rebuilt using authentic wartime measurements. Real POWs from Stalag Luft III served as advisors and corrected every detail. They even explained how the air pumping systems were made from tin cans and stolen clothing. Set builders replicated the design so closely that oxygen levels actually dropped when too many people were inside. Actors fainted during long takes. Crew members brought emergency fans to push air through. The director refused to widen the tunnels, saying realism was the priority. Every scrape, every gasp, every whisper you see came from actors fighting for air. The Great Escape didn't fake confinement. It recreated it. Fact number 5. The real escapees' families visited the set during production. Many had lost fathers, brothers, or sons in the original 1944 breakout. When they watched the recreation of tunnel digging, some broke down in tears. John Sturgis halted filming for a full day to allow them space to grieve. Actors who once joked between takes stayed silent afterward. That visit transformed the tone of the production. From that day forward, every scene was treated as a memorial, not just entertainment. The cast understood they weren't playing heroes. They were honoring them. The Great Escape became both movie and monument. Its spirit shifted from adventure to remembrance. Fact number 4. Steve McQueen's rebellious nature extended far beyond the screen. During shooting, he refused to wear costume boots, complaining they slowed his riding. He swapped them for his own worn motorcycle boots and hid the change from the wardrobe team. The continuity supervisor caught it only after several takes, but Sturgis let it slide. McQueen's boots remain visible in several shots, small but unmistakable symbols of defiance. That decision mirrored his character's essence, a man who refuses to conform even when surrounded by order. In The Great Escape, McQueen didn't just play rebellion, he lived it frame by frame. Fact number 3. The movie's ending was rewritten multiple times. The original script ended with Hiltz dying in the final chase. Studio executives panicked, claiming audiences would reject a hopeless finale. Sturgis reluctantly changed it so Hiltz survives and returns to solitary confinement, whistling the theme. The new ending turned tragedy into bittersweet triumph. It became one of cinema's most famous final shots. Yet behind that defiance was compromise. McQueen wanted the cooler sequence filmed as a statement of endurance. The studio wanted a commercial victory. What we got was both, despair wrapped in swagger. It's not freedom, but defiance, Hollywood's version of survival. Fact number 2. The Great Escape broke cultural barriers across Europe. In Poland, Czechoslovakia, and Yugoslavia, illegal screenings were organized behind the Iron Curtain. Audiences saw it as a metaphor for their own struggle against oppression. The movie's theme of collective resistance resonated far beyond its wartime setting. In Britain, the film became a Christmas tradition shown annually on television for decades. Soldiers in training camps watched it for motivation. What began as Hollywood entertainment became a global anthem of endurance. The Great Escape wasn't just a story. It became a state of mind. Fact number 1. When filming wrapped, the entire camp set was demolished, but one tunnel section was left buried beneath the Bavarian soil. Years later, in the 1990s, Hikers discovered rusted tools and wooden planks still preserved underground. Archaeologists confirmed they were part of the original movie set, not wartime debris. That forgotten tunnel stands today beneath a meadow, silent and unseen. It's cinema's ghost, proof that fiction left its mark on real Earth. The Great Escape may have ended on film, but its spirit remains entombed beneath the ground where art met history. Bonus fact: the movie's title theme was played at the funeral of real RAF escapees years later. Veterans requested it not as a tune of victory, but as a salute to comrades who never made it home. Elmer Bernstein attended one such ceremony and was moved to tears. He said he never imagined a melody written for Hollywood would echo at real graves. The Great Escape wasn't just inspired by history, it became part of it. The film blurred the line between legend and legacy forever. The Great Escape endures because it isn't about breaking walls, it's about breaking limits. Every frame hides pain, courage, and persistence. What you saw on screen was triumph. What happened behind the camera was survival. If you learned something new today, hit like, share this story, and subscribe for more hidden truths behind cinema's greatest legends. Because just like those men in the camp, we're all searching for our own great escape.